Music.
Unz, unz.
All right. Check it out, everybody. Waiting for the YouTube to catch up. Backyard TARDIS is in the chat already. Very nice. All right, folks. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Here we go.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. This is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. I got the entire panel with me tonight. Shanti, Brad. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up, for joining us this evening. Brad, what's up?
Man, it is good to see everybody here, and I'm glad everybody in the chat is saying Happy Star Wars Day.
There you go.
We all agree that this is the real Star Wars Day. We can have May the 4th be with you all we want, but today is the day where it came out in 1977. Only Ro was there to see it. but the world has never been the same since it came out. So we have some good stuff coming out today. You know, this interview, and we got some content dropping later.
This is the first Scarif Live, and later on at around 7 o'clock, we have another one coming down the pipelines. I'll tell you a little bit more about it later on. And in between the two, lots of stuff happening here at the Red 5 Network with our friends. Look at this. We've got Todd in the chat. We've got Lunar Girl. Dave Richards, always great to see you, Dave. And Veda Rapina, thank you very much for joining us. I know, this time works out well for everybody. Thank you so much. It feels like a Saturday. It feels like a weekend. It's a national holiday for a lot of people. What has everybody been doing?
Shanti, how about you?
Retweeting everybody's stuff.
All right.
I've been, as I posted on Twitter, I've been getting my butt kicked on Elden Ring. That game is not for the faint of heart, but I think I finally got it.
That's what I keep hearing.
It's now I'm a little bit obsessed with it because that tends to happen. But I'm getting really excited for what we got coming out on Friday. We got Stranger Things coming out on Friday, which I'm really excited about. But of course, what we're all here for is Obi-Wan coming out on Friday. And,
absolutely.
I'm getting really excited about that.
I like your shirt.
Me too.
Yeah, I picked it up while at the race. So
nice.
I got a wicked sunburn while I was there though. But Ro texted me a few days ago, and he's like, "Hey, is this a big deal?" and it was in reference to Wikipedia, not Wiki, but Wikipedia wanting to come on and chat on Scarif Live, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's definitely a big deal." If you search for anything Star Wars related on the interwebs, Wikipedia is going to be the first thing that pops up with all that information. And the amount of information that they have about the Star Wars saga, whether you just stick to the canon material, or if you're like most of us here and you love Legends as well, they have all the information about Legends stories from, across the decades. So as soon as he texted me about this show, I was really excited. So happy to and excited to get this interview started and pick the brains of Wikipedia.
I just saw, I don't know how they amassed the material. I guess we'll ask them, but more than 174,000 pages of Star Wars material. And I thought I had a lot up here. But that sounds like a massive amount. Shut up, Santi.
Almost did a spit take.
But let's get the party started and let's bring them in here. Wookieepedia SE, how's it going?
Hello, everybody. Thank
Hi.
you for having us.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Happy
Thank you
Star
for being
Wars Day,
brave
everyone.
enough to come on.
So we like to ask our guests, around this time of year, we here at Scarif consider May 25th to be the real Star Wars Day. Of course, everybody celebrates, May the 4th be with you. You have an opinion on that? You think today's the Star Wars Day? Where are you at on that?
I think we can safely say for any Wookieepedia editor, every day is Star Wars Day.
That's a fact.
There you go.
So we were just talking. We are all really excited about Obi-Wan coming out here in just a couple of days on Friday. So is it a sense of excitement for you guys, or dread for all the updates you're gonna have to make, or where do you stand on that?
I'd say everyone is very excited. I think everyone deep down understands that there is going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of things to update after this, but we've got a couple projects in the works that will make that a little bit easier.
Very nice.
But there's going to be a lot. So if anybody listening wants to join Wookieepedia, the volunteers are always welcome.
So, how many people are, we say Wikipedia, we just see the website. How many people are working behind the scenes every day there?
I would say on any given day, probably upwards of 50 different people that are working at any point, one point or another. But over the course of a month, that can be up to a couple hundred people that are just making, a small edit here, a little fix there. So it's a very massive community.
It is massive. I mentioned more than 174,000 pages. That's got to be a lot to keep track of. What is I wanted to ask you from a database perspective, what is the big headache when people submit articles or material? What is the best way to keep track of everything to make sure that it all jives?
Well, we have at present 175,359 articles, and that's the latest update. But we use what's called the recent changes feed, which I'll actually drop that in the chat for anyone who's listening. And that's this here. This feed will show us everything that has happened recently, right up to edits that just got made, say, a second ago. We can then view what the differences are between that and the previous revision. And then that lets us determine, do we need to adjust this? Do we need to revert this? Is this okay? And I would say at any given point, there's probably upwards of a dozen people that are keeping an eye on this.
Very nice. Impressive. Most impressive.
You guys have any droids working for you yet, or you're not there yet?
We do have a couple of, we actually use a couple of bots to make our jobs a little bit easier, but we have a few people that I would say are at least half bot, given how rapid they are at updating things.
Sure. Yeah. And real quickly, when you had, I think you had posted on Twitter, if anybody wants to talk to you on a show, I want to point out and give props to some of our followers. We were unaware that they tagged us and they wanted us to see if this would be a possibility. So thank you very much for doing that, followers. Really, really cool.
Well, we're happy to. We've had a blast, absolutely, just making the rounds around the podcast and just getting to know this larger, amazing Star Wars community.
You talk about community, and it is really a community. We are part of something bigger. We're talking about it, many decades later. It's still going strong. Again, you mentioned the word community. What is one of the things that you have learned about not only the community, but yourself as a curator of Star Wars facts and a fan, I'm assuming, obviously, but what are some of the things that you learned about yourself and the community doing this?
For me personally, so a bit of backstory. I became a Star Wars, I would say, super nerd back in 2008 after I got a copy of Heir to the Empire. I started reading on Wikipedia shortly thereafter and started editing around 2011. And I would say one of the things that I've learned about myself is how much I want to help bring that sense of community to others. This site is something that's been a part of my life for most of my teenage life and into my mid to late 20s. And I want to bring that same sense of community to others. This site's helped me through a lot, and I want to help bring that to the next generation. Be they a young generation, old generation, anyone who's interested in Star Wars, I want to bring it to them.
Anyone who uses, any kind of wikis and, and yourself personally, I can start down a rabbit hole and a couple hours later, I don't know how I even got there. Do you find yourself, even though you work for Wikipedia, following any rabbit holes?
I would say we probably go down rabbit holes all the time, and all of us are probably pretty bad at trying to stay on one topic at a time. Like, I can look up at the top of my browser right now and easily have over a dozen tabs open with just various things that I want to do. And that's pretty common.
Wow. I have a question. We were talking about community, and I'm sure you see this a lot. How do you handle a lot of the toxicity that's happening right now between fans and all the back and forth and the trolling of everybody? Like, how do you handle that, especially on Twitter?
Oh, for me personally, so for those who don't know, I'm part of our social media team, and I run our Twitter account at @WookOfficial. I do our YouTube account, and I help out on our Instagram on occasion. Personally, I found that the best thing to do against the toxicity is just don't give it a platform. Focus on the positives. Focus on the things that we have in common, which is we all like Star Wars, and just go with that. It's easy to be negative, but it's even easier to be positive.
And it's a lot easier to ignore some of the stuff that is, circulating as content. I think, we each have a responsibility, obviously, to curate our own timelines and experience in this world of social media. I see a lot of, people kind of giving up and saying, this is not what I signed up for, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of it does, have to deal with, I guess, our own makeup as far as personality goes. I'm one of those guys that are lucky enough to have whatever just kind of roll off my back. But I know a lot of people get really, really affected by any negative little thing, and it's a shame. But I would hope that that a lot of the information that is garnered on Wikipedia is something that people take to heart and really dive into and enjoy, because like you said, we are all Star Wars fans and we love this galaxy, for better or for worse, but it's we're all here for a reason. And I think we just have to kind of keep reminding each other why we're here, why we enjoy it, what aspects of this, fable of this tale that we really enjoy, and just make that grow.
Exactly. Just focus on those positives that you enjoy, because something that, say, you might not enjoy, someone else might find some inspiration in. And that's totally fine.
Just keep scrolling, people. Keep scrolling. That's what I do.
And for those in the chat, it's not often you're going to get a chance to actually ask Wikipedia a question. Normally it's just a resource and you have to, scroll through it. But so if, while we got them here, if you have any questions for Wikipedia, by all means, throw them up there and we'll get them asked.
If anyone has questions, throw them at us. Hello, everyone in chat. We're happy to have you here.
Speaking of community and positive vibes, do you guys have anybody going out to Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim?
So we don't, unfortunately, have a formal presence there this year, but we do have a couple of undercover porgs that will be in attendance and passing on all of their cool little updates.
Very nice.
There's going to be a couple of us down. So Fandom, the company that hosts Wikipedia, they're doing their annual Community Connect this weekend as well. So a few of us will be down for that in LA, but just not close enough and not with enough free time to actually swing over to Celebration.
Nice.
So tell us about a day in the life of somebody who works for Wikipedia. What's that like?
Well, because it's this is something we all do as a volunteer, so we all have our own real world jobs, so to speak. Lots of looking at site, lots of looking at our Discord, and lots of contemplating all the things that we want to work on, but just don't have time to do.
Right.
And do you guys do you perform multiple functions? Are you both updating and editing, or are the editors, differentiated from everybody else that works for Wikipedia?
No, so the thing is, with being an administrator, the only difference between myself and someone who's just joined the site is I just have access to a couple more buttons. In that sense, we're all equal on site. Everyone just kind of gravitates to what they prefer and what they like.
Sure. We do have a question from the chat. Backyard
Let's
TARDIS.
do it.
Our friend Nick Schaefer, Backyard TARDIS. As someone who is working on making my own wiki, my question is, what program do you use, and what are the pros and cons of it?
Great
That
question.
is a good one. So we're hosted by Fandom, and Fandom hosts last count, I believe it was over 250,000 of these wiki sites like Wikipedia. They run on the. I believe they've just updated to the most recent version of MediaWiki. And I would say the pros are it's completely free use. It's fairly easy to learn. The con would be it does take a little bit to get used to the actual the wiki text itself and how to actually edit. But once you get past that, it's really fairly straightforward.
Excellent.
There's a lot of help channels available as well. Fandom maintains their own Discord server. That has probably easily a couple thousand people that are happy to help with any of the technical questions you have as well.
Cool.
Excellent.
Does the site work like Wikipedia where people can actually edit, or do you guys have that like completely shut down and only whoever works for Wikipedia is actually allowed to upload information and edit?
Nope. Anyone can edit at any point. The only exception being sometimes we do have to lock pages. Like if let's say there's a lot of scuttlebutt around a certain character and we see a lot of back and forth, say trolling and editing. I know I had to do that.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
But if
500 bonus points.
if we see a lot of maybe back and forth or edit warring, as we call it, we may have to temporarily lock access to a page. That's used very sparingly because it goes against the very nature of what the site is, which is a free use resource that anyone can contribute to.
Very cool.
And for everybody's reference, that is how you properly use the word scuttlebutt in a sentence. So kudos to Wikipedia for that.
Awesome.
How long have you personally been with Wikipedia?
So I made my first couple edits back in 2008, not long after I started reading on the site. I believe my first edit was on the article for the Sun Crusher. Bonus points to anyone who actually remembers what that is.
Absolutely.
After that, I kind of just kept a low profile. I did a couple little things here and there. Around 2011 was when I found our IRC chat and I started connecting with some of the other people that were involved with it. And from there, it's a rabbit hole you go down. You start working with the same people every day, and it becomes more than a community. It becomes a family of sorts.
Sure.
So you were there when Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas. Do you have any behind the scenes on how that went? I know there's stuff in the wiki about when you guys had to branch out, between canon and legends. You got any scuttlebutt, as it were, around that topic?
Yeah, I was there for that, and there was a lot of chaos involved, just because it's this universe that we're all used to, that we've all been following for, in some cases, since it first released. And it was a big change. There was a lot of uncertainty about what directions it's going to take. How's this going to look? What's going to be kept? What isn't? And it did lead to some users leaving just because they kind of started to lose interest in the franchise. And I would say probably for a year or two after that, the site was, by and large, fairly quiet. There was not a massive actual editor base at the time. But then as the new continuity started to develop more, we started to gain more people who were interested in kind of getting it on the ground floor. That in turn has led to some of those other users kind of returning just to kind of work on what they enjoy working on, be it legends, canon, those little cool non-canon niche things that nobody's ever heard of. Or in the case of one of our other administrators, the old West End Games source books. That kind of comes back to everyone finds their own little niche of what they like, and then they just kind of stick with that.
Most importantly, where do you guys put Star Wars, the holiday special? Is that under canon or Legends?
That falls in Legends. In the
okay.
Legends continuity, that did in fact take place, but we just kind of pretend that didn't exist.
Yeah, I was watching
Or at
an
least
interview
I personally do.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Harrison Ford just yesterday, and he as well was trying to pretend like that never happened, but it did.
What? Holiday
did.
special.
I believe Mark Hamill's done that a couple of times too.
Yeah,
Blame them.
at least he doesn't mind a little, self deprecation, as it were.
Sure. I had a quick question. There was a time that a lot of fans call the dark times in the 90s, whatever, when there was not a lot of Star Wars coming out. But now it seems like there is so much material coming out, novels, books, the video games. When something new comes out, do you guys like brace for impact? Like who gets, there's that meme that from The Office where everybody's like running around. It's happening. What's going on? Get ready. Is that what you guys look like?
I think that's probably a fairly accurate representation. That's probably what it's going to be like for Kenobi, especially since a couple of us are going to be at Celebration and a couple of us are going to be at Fandom's Community Connect, so we'll already be down a couple of people at launch. But by and large, yeah, it's just kind of a lot of running around.
Sure.
That's probably actually the most accurate representation of it.
Do you guys have like a deadline when something new comes up? Like, I know you mentioned that it's all volunteer based, but do you guys have like personal deadlines to keep, or how long between something new comes out before it appears?
That kind of varies person to person. Obviously, everyone would prefer everything just be updated immediately. That's unfortunately not feasible. Generally, it's just we try to kind of get things updated as quick as we can after they've released, or at the very least, have some kind of presence on the site.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Somebody mentioned the cue the Benny Hill theme. Perfectly said. Yeah.
That is accurate. What we did for the book of Boba Fett. One of the programs that I launched during that was our Wookiee Nights editor program, which was where a bunch of us would get together in a group chat. We would pop open a Google Doc, copy over, say, the Twi'lek Major Domo article, and then we would collectively update it after each episode release. That way we could have something completely updated, up to the highest possible standards within like a day or two of the show launch.
Very nice.
How have you gone about actually collecting all this data to actually be able to post it on the site? Like, where is the information coming from? Different books, knowledge off the top of your head? Like, where is it all coming from?
Most of it just from any officially released source. So, like for the Book of Boba Fett, for example, we would just have a group watch open on a second screen. Mm-hmm. We would go through. We would pause where needed. We would figure out kind of how are we going to word this section? How do we want to write this? Some stuff comes from ancillary sources like, say, source books, for example. And we just kind of mine that information from wherever we can get it.
And that's a great feature for anybody using Wikipedia. Down at the bottom of each article, they have the references and sources, with hyperlinks for most of it. So, you want to go down that rabbit hole, go to the original source documentation and get the actual information.
Yeah, and proper sourcing is kind of the cornerstone of, in my opinion, any wiki site. People need to be able to see where is this information actually coming from, instead of just, did someone just make this up off the top of their head?
Right.
So if you're looking at any page on Wikipedia, you'll notice, and I'm not sure if this is on mobile or just on desktop, but you'll see a little number as you're reading through a paragraph. If you click on that number, it'll take you down to the specific ref note that section is sourced to.
Very cool. Very cool. So it obviously you are quite familiar with a large gamut of Star Wars news and backgrounds and characters and things like that. It's a rich galaxy Mr. Lucas has created for us fans. We are still talking about it, like we mentioned, 45 years plus. I wanted to get your take on why you think Star Wars has stuck around for so long. What is it about it that we all just really cling to?
I think it's just that everyone can find something that they can relate to in it, be it, the rough smuggler that's kind of the underdog, be it that bright-eyed kid that's fresh into adulthood. everyone can find someone or something that they can relate to in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody is on their own hero's journey. Isn't that right, Brad?
Well said.
Absolutely. Got to get some Joseph Campbell in there anytime we can. We have another question.
Yeah, Nick's got
from
good
the
questions.
chat. Yeah. If you get analytics, which I'm sure you do, is there any country that you're surprised by the amount of traffic that you get?
Not really, no, to be honest. I'm not too surprised by that at all.
Okay. We once were the top 10 listened to Star Wars podcast in I forgot where was where, and this is Yoshi's fault too, because he was listening to the where was ILM doing their, they have a facility out in, now I'm drawing a blank now. And
We guarantee you we were top 10 somewhere at
somewhere
some point.
in some other country.
Antarctica.
And
Very popular there.
Yeah. The penguins love us.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
obviously we've been talking about Obi-Wan, the series coming up, and we're all very excited about that. There's a bunch of projects coming out here in the next year or two. Which one are you personally most excited for?
For me, it tends to be just whatever's coming out next. So at the moment, it's Kenobi. Once that's done, it'll be whatever's up next. And it's just amazing how much content we're actually getting. Like after, like you said, those dark years where there was nothing, now we're getting stuff constantly. We're always getting to go deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole of a universe.
Can you really enjoy it the first time around, because you have to update everything? You have to watch it, a second time after you get everything updated.
I try to compartmentalize it a little bit. So the first time I'll look at it just solely as a viewer. I'm just a fan enjoying this. And then the second time it's, all right, let's deep dive into the background of this. And hey, is that Pelimoto in the background?
Well, yeah, because you guys have, when you cross-reference articles, you guys have stuff about the little things at the back of the scene. In there, so you really got to pay attention to the details.
I was gonna say, does this ever really suck the joy out of actually watching this stuff? Does it ever feel like work because you do have to update these pages, or do you still find yourself enjoying all the content?
No, I would say I just enjoy the content. Working on Wikipedia is something that's a huge passion in my life, and working on the larger fandom platform, it's just something that gives me a lot of joy. Mm-hmm. I know some people will take, a little break from the editing side from time to time just so they can decompress and enjoy it. But personally, I just love being here.
Sure. You mentioned watching these projects and then noticing something in the background. But, as fans, that's what we do. We've been doing that forever since we were able to, pause a VHS and kind of look at the corner. We've got, little Easter eggs. In the special editions, you see Dash Rendar's ship taking off in the background at Mos Eisley. There are little Easter eggs that maybe some of your team have caught that don't appear to be anywhere else that you remember. Anything like that?
Some of my favorites are the little things in the Clone Wars that were written in Aurebesh in the background. Mm-hmm. And there was one episode, and I'm drawing a blank on which one it was, but they had actually included a complete Aurebesh copy of a Wikipedia article, copied word for word on the readouts on a starship.
Very nice.
And
that was just kind of one of those oh wow, that's just such a cool little nod.
And how did you come about finding that?
Somebody that was good at reading Aurebesh.
Yeah. Right.
That somebody was not me.
And I love those little crossovers. Obviously, the biggest crossover you have is the droids in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the hieroglyphs behind them. You've got again, you mentioned the Clone Wars, but I think it's Rebels where you see some Klatooinians with the
Klatooinians.
With the Ark
I
of the
think it
Covenant.
was, yeah. I think it was, yeah.
with the Ark of the Covenant going down the ship and stuff like that. So, and obviously, this is cross pollination. I'm going to use that word again, Shanti. Thank you very much. This is cross pollination between the properties at Lucasfilm, which I think is really cool. And the fans from one franchise are fans of another franchise, and I think that's really great. We have one question again from Dave Richards. This time, is there a specific book or website you referred to before Wikipedia came about? He mentions Bill Slavichek's Guide to the Star Wars Universe. I don't know if I said that name right.
For me personally, no, just because my journey really began after Wikipedia became a concept. But no, I know a lot of people did refer to that, and there was, the old boards online where you could dive in and ask questions. But this was where it really started for me.
Cool. Yeah.
And then there was the Star Wars site itself, the Star Wars data bank.
Yeah.
That had some good information on it back in the day. One of the best, you talk cross-pollination. I'll just throw it in there again just one more time. One of the best theories I ever saw was that Indiana Jones is just what Han Solo was dreaming while he was frozen in carbonite. So
let's not forget that non-canon one shot where Han Solo and Chewbacca crashed on Earth.
Oh yeah. Legend,
Very
folks.
nice.
Never heard this before.
Yeah, it was a little one-off non-canon comic where the Millennium Falcon crashed on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Han got killed by some humans on the planet with a bow and arrow, and Chewbacca became Bigfoot.
Oh, wow.
Then in the future, then you get Indiana Jones and what was his name? Short Round. I can't remember what the guy's name was. And they stumble across it. And they're just standing there looking at Han Solo's skeleton with arrows in it.
Wow.
That's
nice.
That's bleak, man.
Yeah.
That's just a little
bleak.
Yeah.
I like this one. I like this
I
one.
love it though.
I like this one comment that popped up here from Lunar Girl. Everyone smash that like button if you're enjoying Wikipedia. Yes,
Hell yeah.
smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, Blake might not let us live it down if we skip his question. On that,
all right. I'm going to go back. Let's see, Blake.
What was the question? I missed that.
You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
All right. What's the question?
If I can't find it, we're just going to have
then I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
And I'll ask it.
Hold on. One more time.
Just for the record, if for Blake, I'm sure you've watched the movie Fanboys, and they cover this question ad nauseum in the movie Fanboys. So I think your answer's there.
This one's actually. It's a good one. I defer to the one who wrote the series.
Oh my god.
All right, Mr. Lucas, it's on you.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And if you're watching this, hi George.
There you go. Let's see. Yeah, keep those questions coming. These are really good ones.
I'm gonna ask a cliche question.
Go for it.
Favorite Star Wars movie? Go.
There's only one right answer.
Me personally, I have to go Revenge of the Sith.
Oh.
That's because that's the first one I saw in theaters. It was not long after I kind of started getting into Star Wars, and just sitting there in that theater watching a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It just had a very profound impact on childhood me.
Sure.
I tell you what, we run polls and stuff on Twitter, and it is so good to see, the prequels got so much, I'm going to say hate, but, they a lot of scrutiny back in the day. But nowadays it is so good now that, folks, born in, around that time have come of age. It is so nice to see how many people list Revenge of the Sith as their favorite. And that's cool to see.
It really is, and I think that really speaks to that there's something here for everybody, and what some person doesn't like, someone else will.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we have to remember. And I wanted to ask you, what you thought, talking about the prequels. We've got Hayden Christensen coming back to play the iconic role, obviously, that he is known for in the Star Wars world. What do you think of Anakin, Hayden, Vader coming back to face off Kenobi again?
I'm very excited to have him back. Like you said, there was a lot of hate afterwards, and that really took away from what an amazing job he himself did as an actor. I'm really happy that he can come back and now see just what an impact that had on everyone's life.
Yeah, and I think he's seeing all the love. Obviously, they are on their marketing blitz. The last couple of weeks, we have seen him and Ewan McGregor and all the rest of the characters just really having a good time with the press and their fans and the public. It's been really fantastic, and I really I really commend him for saying yes to this project, because I think after everything that went on during the prequel time, and I know a lot of people had their criticism of the prequel trilogy, but it's really nice to see him come back for this.
It really is, and one of the big things that I try to focus on, being on our social media team, is pushing out the positive things. There's always been a very loud, very toxic voice in the Star Wars universe, but we all know that it's in no way representative of the entire fan base. They just sometimes happen to be the loudest.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. And Brad, I think you said it during our pre-recorded show that's coming up in about an hour and a half. When you want to get into the nitty-gritty of fandom, if you can't make it to a Star Wars celebration, try to mingle with other fans at other smaller events. I think it really gives you a different feel. Twitter is an interesting animal. It's got many faces, many facets of it, but really, if you really want to get in deep with fandom and enjoy the things and experience other people's joy of the same thing, you really have to get out and mingle and community that we're all part of. And I think that's great advice.
Yeah, I mean, you see, if you just look online, there's a little girl dressed up as Jyn Erso a couple years back, and she handed out Death Star plans to every single Princess Leia.
I remember that one.
That is cute.
And I'm telling you that's real fandom right there. So we get in this argument: is Star Wars just for kids? It's Star Wars for everybody. So get out there and enjoy the community. So how do you like to celebrate Star Wars Day?
I personally celebrated it just by having a great time with everyone on Twitter. We ran some live Twitter spaces, got involved with a couple of really fun communities, and just overall had a good time just getting out there and interacting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those we've run a few of those Twitter spaces now. Ro and Shanti, they're on there all the time. Those are a great way to connect with folks, and just everybody can just share their opinion respectfully. It's a really good time.
Yeah.
They really are. And honestly, one of my favorite things to do is if I see just a small Twitter space that maybe someone's doing with one of their friends talking about Star Wars, I'll just join in as Wikipedia and just hop in the conversation with them.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. I see currently that George Lucas is trending, which is really, really great on this special day. I know people get nervous when certain actors and personalities are trending for whatever reason.
Oh, God, I know.
Don't do it to us.
Don't say it.
I'm not putting it out there, but
Don't.
yeah. Kudos to Mr. Lucas and the legacy that he created for us fans. It's just an amazing.
Yeah.
It's just really
And
amazing.
it's twofold. Did I see this correctly that today is Frank Oz's birthday as well? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So
Did I miss that?
happy
completely?
birthday, Frank Oz. I was
Oh,
scrolling
wow.
through Twitter earlier.
I
Yeah.
absolutely missed that.
So yay.
How did Wikipedia?
Weird. I guess I better go reach out to the people at the Muppets Wiki and do a joint tweet with them.
Yeah, as a collector of information, do you get to team up with other communities, other fandoms, other IPs?
We really do, and because we're all working on this platform together, we all have that shared experience of working on a wiki site. And we get a lot of crossover between people who are, say, asking about how do I do this specific thing or how do I use this feature, and people from any wiki will come together and find the solution. One really cool thing that we do in the fandom Discord is we have a social media channel where a couple of us who run various accounts will hop in and we'll share some of the cool things we're doing. We'll spitball some ideas, do some collaborative things. Like there's obviously a lot of crossover between Star Wars and the Muppets for various reasons. And we'll just see what kind of cool little things we can concoct.
You know, it's funny. I talked about Yoshi Vu, who was visual effects. He's one of our friends, visual effects artist at ILM. One of the things that he shared with me was that the Muppet Babies open was what got him into Star Wars. He remembers seeing the Muppet Babies and the Vader's TIE Advanced ship in the opening sequence every day when he was watching it as a kid. And that's what got him into Star Wars. So it's pretty cool.
That's my generation, Ro.
Muppet
Baby.
Muppet Babies.
So
He calls
Star
me a
Wars.
fetus because I'm younger than all of us.
Oh my god. Star Wars means something different to everybody. So, from a personal perspective, what does Star Wars mean to you?
To me personally, community. Just this shared universe that we all find something we enjoy in. Something that can kind of bring us all together.
Absolutely. And it has brought us together. Like I said, you know, we're sitting here talking about this franchise 45 years later. And, you know, not anything can do that for such a long period of time.
Someone control Blake.
Okay, the question tweeted Mark Hamill because I don't think George is on there.
Wait a minute, hang on.
You're killing me, Smalls. I love it.
Did you tag us in that tweet though? Is the question so I can
There you
find
go.
it.
There you go. See?
Oh, we got
Come
a
on,
question from
Blake.
Charles.
I don't think you want guilt by association on some of Blake's questions. Here.
Charles.
Hold up.
All right.
Searching for
Question.
Mark Hamill.
That's funny.
I presume you tweeted about Mark Hamill.
Red 5 Pedia. Yeah, that has a nice ring to it.
Red 5 a PD. Oh,
I
very
found
nice.
you.
Thanks, Blake, for that. It's too funny. Oh boy. All right. So so being part of the Red 5 network, as a lot of us content creators are, Charles had a nice little question there. And then, you know, just quick little background, Red 5 Network, you know, we kind of created a group of content creators. You can find all of us when we tweet and we interact on Twitter. We have a wonderful community. Speaking of community of content creators, look for the hashtag Red 5 Family tag and you'll find all of us. But yeah, that would be kind of cool to have a Red 5pedia on Wikipedia, a little section of us little nerds just kind of hanging out there. That would be awesome.
Unfortunately, we do have some strict guidelines about what sort of real world things can actually get covered.
Darn it.
But if that was ever doable, yes, I would follow that.
That would be so awesome.
Be sure to get 2 views a week.
Also,
Fivepedia.
Charles, I found your tweet. I found you. Unfortunately, we already follow you though, so I'm gonna unfollow you, and I've now refollowed you. More for my own entertainment than anything.
Sweet.
That's the secret of the algorithm. Very nice. Any final thoughts for Wikipedia? This has been such a great conversation, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. And again, you know, thank our followers for making the recommendation. We had no idea that we started to get these tags, and very, very nice. Thank you so much.
Yep, wanted to thank you for coming on. I've personally been using the site for many, many years now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you and all the folks do for Wikipedia and making that knowledge so easy to get a hold of. So thank you for everything you do. And again, happy Star Wars Day.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure to get to chat with other fans and just get out there in the community.
Real fast, we've been running this crawl for a while, letting people know where to find you. But one last call to action here. Where can folks find you, and let everybody know?
So folks can find us on fandom at starwars.fandom.com. You can find us on Twitter at @WookOfficial. And you can find us on Instagram at Wikipedia. And if you search for Wikipedia on YouTube, you'll find our channel there.
Excellent. Very nice.
Or just
Great
Google
Star Wars
anything
fan.
Star Wars.
Yeah, or just
There you go.
or just literally search for anything related to Star Wars, and you'll probably find us as the top result.
That's actually amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
True.
I don't.
Anytime
I
I've
don't know.
looked anything up, because I just kind of discovered you guys literally like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And anytime
You
I
call
have to
yourself
look,
a fan.
anytime I have to look something up, Wikipedia is the first thing to pop up. It's incredible.
That's
So be proud of
hilarious.
that.
She's young. Leave her alone.
Shut up, guys. I was just born yesterday. No,
Awesome,
really though.
awesome.
Thank you. This was really awesome, and I hope everyone's been having a great Star Wars day because it's been really great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we got more streams. Like I said, Brad and I are going live at 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. We are going to be talking with Jimmy Mack from Rebel Force Radio, another Chicago podcast. Talking about we've been talking to the greats lately. You search anything Star Wars and Wikipedia comes up. You search for the #1 Star Wars podcast and Rebel Force Radio comes up. I told you, Brad, we are like number 836 on that list. 834 on a good day.
I thought you said like 400 something. We dropped.
Dropped.
Oh well.
Absolutely. But yes, thank you everybody in the chat for those questions. Wonderful questions, wonderful folks in the chat. Smash the like, give us a follow, and join us again in about an hour and a half or so. But if you have any other questions, anything that you want to find Star Wars related, you now know where to go if you didn't before. But leave us a message on the voicemail if you want to say hello to us here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. The Scarif Scuttlebutt hotline is 773-234-8659. And what else is left to say, Brad and Shanti?
You and your voicemails.
Everyone join Wikipedia and start editing because
Yeah.
there's
Yay.
always something to do.
Absolutely.
You don't want to give me that power.
They can.
I don't know if
don't
y'all
worry.
want to come down this rabbit hole, but please, more people are always welcome.
Absolutely.
You'll learn about
So
all
much.
things such as Argo 6.
Look it up, folks.
Seriously, look
All
it
right,
up.
everybody.
It's curse knowledge.
Happy Star Wars Day. I'm going to go
Happy
watch
Star Wars
Return
Day,
of the
everyone.
Jedi because that is the best Star Wars movie. And that, my friends, is the Scuttlebutt.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.